A 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
Serious Rock Talk, back on the dial. Here we are again for Season 9, Episode 2. I'm in the booth, as always, with my good friend and counterpart, none other than...
Dr. Ian Clark, it's so wonderful to be with you again.
Dr. Ian Clark is the man, the myth, the legend, and he took the blue train back in the day, and the wind just blew him into the bar.
All the way to Kokomo. Thank you, Robbie Robertson.
God bless him. So, today we're going to talk about hip-hop.
With the hip and a hop and hip and a hop hop?
Exactly. Hip-hop turns 50. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for some serious hip-hop talk.
It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, and the date is January 5th, 1973. That's Bruce Springsteen's debut album, which gave a hint as his future direction of mixing solo cuts with full band performances. How does the boss tie into hip-hop? He doesn't.
Wow.
He doesn't. But on that date, in 1973, one icon has emerged. And exactly 8 months and 6 days later, across the pond and off the turnpike, another moment in history, an icon was born. The musical and cultural movement that would become known to the world as hip-hop began on August 11, 1973, inside a recreation room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, unit, which is a 102-unit residential apartment complex in the Bronx borough of New York City. Now, Ian, does the name Cindy Campbell mean anything to you?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's right. It has no significance to you whatsoever, but she is responsible for the creation of the art form known as hip-hop. Cindy wanted to throw a back-to-school block party to help raise money for books and clothes. She knew the best person to draw the type of enthusiastic crowd needed was none other than Cindy's 18-year-old brother, Clive, DJ Cool Herc Campbell. Everything was about back to school with the promotional flyers and New York graffiti style that were drawn by hand.
This sounds like a movie.
Oh, it does. Cover fee for the boys were 50 cents and for the girls 25 cents. And that promoted a prominent DJ, none other than DJ Cool Herc. An anticipated turnout of more than 300 people came to this party. Ian, were you there?
Yeah, I was small, though, and I think I was just hungry. I didn't pay attention.
So Herc, a short form for Hercules due to his 6'5" stature, delivers
Lord.
That's right. Delivers a treated playlist of future hip-hop DJ staples that included It's Just Begun by the Jimmy Castor Bunch and classic cuts from James Brown, the Isley Brothers, and the Incredible Bongo Band. Herc,
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you heard of them.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So Herc also unveiled a new turntable technique known as the merry-go-round,
Or how to ruin your needle.
in which he would use two versions of the same record to extend the song's media section. Igniting dancers, he dubbed the Break B-Boys, or the B-Boys, into a frenzy. After this party, Herc's status grew and was known for his mammoth speakers that were over 6 feet, and the sound was known as Herculoids. His style influenced pioneers like Grandmaster Flash and Africa Bambaataa,
Oh, yeah, sure.
who would follow his lead. I knew you would know those two names.
Yeah, I know those names.
Did you know that on that day of August 11th, 1973, DJ Herc's friend Coke La Rock grabbed the mic and started calling his friends names and rapping on improvised lyrics?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, good news. In November of 2023 coming up, DJ Cool Herc, who is now 68 years old, will finally be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Oh, good for him.
for foundational contribution to popular culture.
Excellent.
Now, as we know, Ian, 1973 was a big year in music. Rock was on the horizon with classic albums being released in the likes of Aerosmith's debut album, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, The Eagles, Desperado, David Bowie, Aladdin Sane, ring a bell?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Funkadelic, Cosmic Slop,
Sounds like them.
Yeah. Grand Funk Railroad, We're an American Band.
Great album.
ZZ Top, Tres Hombres.
The great album.
Leonard Skinner, pronounced Leonard Skinner.
Yeah. Everybody knows that one.
The Rolling Stones, Goat's Head Soup.
It's a good album.
And Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Amazing double album.
So, 73 had these iconic albums, just to name a few, and now DJ Herc invented hip-hop that same year. Yes, my friends, this is music history, and now on with the countdown. 1975, scratching was invented by a DJ by the name of Theodore Livingston, who went by Grand Wizard Theodore.
Who knows?
Yeah, like just about everything else in hip-hop, the technique of scratching records is an art form born of limitation. Theodore was practicing his craft at his Bronx home. He had the bongo rock from Incredible Bongo Band queued up when his mom yelled at him to turn it down, and he accidentally nudged the record, making an audible rip in the playback.
Oh, yeah.
It was wrong, but kind of interesting. Then that form of art was created. 1978, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 4 MCs perform a historic show at the Autobahn Ballroom in Harlem, New York. The crew consisted of Flash, Melly Mel, The Kid Creole, Cowboy, and Scorpio. 1 year later, Ian, your good old friend Raheem,
Oh, yeah.
would join and form the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Yeah, sure. That was, what, 79, you said?
78, December 23rd.
So almost 79, yeah.
But here we go, 79 Ian, September 16th. It was the fall, almost. And does the name Sylvia Robinson mean anything to you?
A little bit, yeah.
So she is the owner of Sugar Hill Records. And she was looking for some sound. And she helped find the band, or form the band, called the Sugar Hill Gang.
Sure.
Which consisted of Henry Big Bank Hank Jackson, Michael Wonder Mike Wright, and Guy Master G O'Brien. This was all made possible as Robinson was looking for rappers near her New Jersey studio with the classic groundbreaking hit Rapper's Delight.
Which I bought, by the way, in Miami of that year. It's the only valuable album I probably have.
And that song came about on January 5th, 1980 with the 15-minute 10-verse, and it was hip-hop's first record to enter Billboard's Top 100 at number 36.
Yeah, it's a seminal album. Like, it's one of the, I won't call it album, cut, song, whatever you want.
EP.
EP. I have the EP. And
So do I. It's good.
Yeah, and when it came out, it just came in a sleeve, a cardboard sleeve.
Well, this was a part of the foundation of the 70s that helped each step help progress
Right.
hip hop from 73 to 79 with some groundbreaking moments. And this is funny because we did a show a couple of years ago, and Delight, Rapper's Delight.
Yeah.
And then Ladies Delight. And Ian, you said to me, in the 70s, everything was delight.
It's true.
You couldn't get away from it because DJ Metro in Canada, which were Toronto,
Right.
Metro, Toronto, I guess he used the subway, I don't know. You're like, everything was delight.
It's true. Everything, for a while, everything's like that, though, these phases, right? It's just the way it works. In the 60s, there were a lot of bands called, like the Jefferson Airplane, the Strawberry Alarm Clock. It all goes in phases. So, yeah, and rap music did too, rapper stuff. So,
All right.
it makes sense.
So now, welcome to the 1980s.
Okay.
My generation, where the pioneers have been formed and shaped the music to an art and brought it to another level. This is where the soapbox was at its finest. Political movements, rival gangs, peace, unity of all cultures to come as one. All of this was done in the message of music, but not with beats or instruments alone, but accompanied by lyrics, words, and powerful statements. Cultures were developed, formed, and harnessed. The 80s was when hip-hop rap music came into form, and it was powerful at its highest peak. Now we're talking about the MCs of my era. Run DMC, Ice-T, Ice Cube, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, NWA, Eazy-E, Young MC, Dr. Dre, Slick Rick, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Curtis Blow, Maestro Fresh West, the Beastie Boys, and Vanilla Ice, just to name a few.
And James Taylor. I'm kidding.
James T, yeah. Now, 1981, Blondie's Rapture becomes the first rap video on MTV.
Yep, that's right.
In the early 80s, though, it was enmeshed in New York's avant-garde with ambitious artists from all genres and backgrounds taking notice of its musical promise. That included Blondie, that with their single Rapture, which is a post-disco new wave staple. And this was made possible because they were actually friends with Fab Five Freddy.
So who was it? I think he still owes me $20.
Yeah, that was it. Fab Five Freddy, one of hip-hop's crucial pioneers. He introduced the band to the bustling Bronx scene and appeared in song videos alongside artist Jean-Michel Basquiat
Yeah.
and graffiti king Lee Quinones.
Yeah. I knew that.
You knew that. See, this is happens when Ian lived through the 80s.
Hey.
82, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five released the song The Message on Sugar Hill Records. This song is one of the most socially conscious hip-hop songs, and it almost did not happen. Thank God it did, as this song influenced and was the template for bands like Public Enemy, NWA, and Notorious B.I.G. 1983, March 12th, to be exact, Run DMC's debut single, It's Like That, was released on Profile Records. 1984 was an important year to the growth of rap hip-hop culture. It was a year that Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin formed the greatest label in hip-hop history known as Def Jam Records. Also in that year, K-Day, so KDAY 1580 AM begins broadcasting hip-hop 24/7.
Good Lord.
As the year turns to 1985, a new emergence arises with the likes of LL Cool J and Run DMC. Now we're getting some traction, and in my opinion, this is all made possible by the influences of Grandmaster Flash and the Sugar Hill Gang, respectively. As I mentioned in previous shows, rap and rock do go hand in hand.
They do.
1986 introduced us to the combination of Run DMC and Aerosmith, Walk This Way rendition on the Raising Hell LP by Run DMC, originally a 1975 hit from the boys of Beantown, known as Aerosmith from their hit album Toys in the Attic. This remake was produced by Def Jam Records, which is Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons, and it was released on July 4th, 1986. This day in music history is when Run DMC revived Aerosmith's career, which brought us 3 back-to-back-to-back albums in Permanent Vacation, Pump, and Get a Grip. No one could prove me wrong, as it is true. Rick Rubin also introduced us to the Beastie Boys and released License to Ill, and Schoolie D influenced an entire generation of gangster rap. 1987, hip-hop started to mature with lyrics, and it became secondary as DJs were often the focal point and MCs yelled catchphrases while interacting with the crowd. This was also the year where we welcomed new artists into the scene like Ice-T, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, better known as Public Enemy, Slick Rick, KRS-One, and Rakim brought us new dynamic to rap with political messages and sophistication. We said hello to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, which is known as Will Smith, and an unpolished NWA known as the NWA and the Posse before they became NWA. Ruthless Records was founded by Eric Eazy-E Wright and Jerry Heller in Compton, California. And I'm starting to hear some bells.
Welcome to Clark Comments. Shut up and buckle up as the good doctor kicks out the jams and offers a selection of questionable, disturbed opinions that are somehow related to popular music.
If you listen to this podcast, you know I'm accustomed to these goofy lists, and I found one on something called musicgrotto.com. And this just grabbed my fancy. It's called 21 Best 1970s Female Singers by a fellow named Liam Flynn. That's a great, we'll talk about Irish heritage, Liam Flynn. Okay, so this is 1970s female singers. Put your mind into this. This is a really strange list because he's a bit over the place. Number 1, Stevie Nicks. Okay, yeah, when I think of the 70s, I think of Stevie Nicks, you know, it is hand in hand. Fleetwood Mac, the haircut she had, the whole dress, the attitude, very 70s. That's Stevie Nicks. Number 2, Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt, I think she won like 11 Grammys or something. She released 8 albums in the 70s. She's such a 70s performer, Linda Ronstadt. I don't know if she ever wrote a song in her life. She did great covers. Number 3, Cher. Interesting choice. I think if we're more of a 60s person, with I Got You, Babe. But, yeah, she did a lot of stuff in the 70s. She had big hits in the 70s. Number 4, Dolly Parton. Yeah, so they're going into country music now. You know, Dolly Parton's first album was in 1967. She has been around for a little while. Number 5 is Reba McEntire. So I guess if we're talking about Dolly, we have to talk about Reba. She had a lot of hits. I think she had 25 songs at number 1 on the Billboard. People don't remember Reba McEntire, perhaps the new generation, that well, but she was pretty awesome if you like country music.
She's a judge on The Voice now.
Oh.
She replaced Blake Shelton for the country.
Well, there you go. Aretha Franklin. Yeah, I think of her as more of a 60s performer, but okay. She did stuff in the 70s, but I think really the 60s or early 70s is where she shines. Liza Minnelli. I think of her as a entertainer, a Broadway performer, a theater person, one of those rare who won Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. Her mother, as you know, was Judy Garland. Amazing performer, but a strange addition to the list, especially as number 8, is Kate Bush. Kate Bush was a kind of an eccentric performer from the 80s. I remember her very well. Strange videos, strange songs. She had a resurgence, as you know. But yeah, okay. And I'm not sure she had a great voice, an interesting voice. Number 9, Barbra Streisand. Who doesn't know Barbra Streisand? Did you know she's around since 1964? Number 10, Olivia Newton-John. People who weren't there can't realize how much she dominated the 70s with like Grease, the movie, and John Travolta, and all these hits she had, all these ballads. She was very, very popular. 11, Patti LaBelle. Yeah, I guess you know her because of Lady Marmalade, but she was around forever. Number 12, Janice Ian. I think you were more of a 60s person with Society's Child. Joni Mitchell. Okay, 60s and 70s, I'm okay with it. Number 14, Suzi Quatro. Suzi Quatro, I think she had a bit part on the sitcom Happy Days. Yeah, I don't know if she's a great voice, but she was prominent, and she kind of was the template for Joan Jett with the leather and stuff. Number 15, Judy Collins. I think of her more as a 60s performer. 16, Bonnie Tyler. Again, I'm not sure she belongs in this list. She had a few hits, right? It's a Heartache, but okay. Number 17 definitely does not belong on the list, but Ella Fitzgerald, one of the great voices of all time in jazz. Number 18, Donna Fargo. I don't know. She was a pretty strong country performer, but again, I'm puzzled. Number 19, Roberta Flack. What beautiful songs she had in the 70s, right? Killing Me Softly. She was great. And so was Karen Carpenter at number 20. Karen Carpenter had a beautiful, beautiful voice. Very low for a female. And 21, the last one, was Diana Ross. Yeah, no one's going to argue with that. So there you have it. Best female singers from the 1970s from musicgrotto.com. Again, before you get too excited about this list does focus on the 70s, not the 60s, not the 80s. I agree with some of the content, definitely not the order. And that, my friends, is Clark Comments.
That's a very interesting list, actually.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Very bizarre. You got a mixture of jazz.
Ella Fitzgerald and who? Judy Collins? Okay, I guess.
Well, they're not on the hip-hop list, so
No.
Back to 88, which managed to come onto the scene with convincing fashion and has the Fab Five, Chuck D, Ice Cube, KRS-One, Slick Rick, and Rakim. And need we mention, Eazy-E was there, and he was cruising down the street in his 6'4". Public Enemy and NWA bring rap into a fury. 89 is an epic year for rap. The godfather of Canadian hip-hop, Maestro Fresh West, released his debut album, Symphony in Effect, with his big hit, Let Your Backbone Slide. Marvin Young, better known as Young MC, released his debut album, Stone Cold Rhyming, on the record label Delicious Records. Tone Loc released his debut album, Loc After Dark, also on the same Delicious Records.
Wild thing.
Yeah. Also independent record company Ikeban Records debuts Vanilla Ice and his album To the Extreme. MC Search, which is better known as Michael Barron, Prime Minister Pete Nice, better known as Peter J. Nash and DJ Richie Rich, which is Richard Lawson, known as Third Base, released their debut album, The Cactus Album. And I recommend you actually listen to that album.
Okay.
I'm serious. It's actually a very good album.
Sure.
1990, artists like Ice Cube, Method Man, A Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, Busta Rhymes, and De La Soul were shaping youth culture worldwide. Maybe 90s rappers weren't as revolutionary as the 80s counterparts, their forefathers who laid the groundwork for hip-hop. Number one songs were 911's A Joke by Public Enemy, America's Most Wanted by Ice Cube, and I Got the Power by Snap. Vanilla.
God.
Yeah, remember that song?
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice's hit Ice Ice Baby becomes the first rap song to top Billboard's Top 100. So basically, rap went pop, and that's what as the critics will say. So everyone went bananas when that happened. 91 came in at lightning, and their soon-to-be superstars emerged on noteworthy albums in 91. So we want to say hi to Nas, Tupac, Busta Rhymes. Looking back, 99 was undeniably one of the greatest years of rap for emerging powerhouses in music, like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, who's actually Ice Cube's first cousin, Black Sheep, Naughty by Nature, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Marky Mark's actually my first cousin.
That's your first cousin?
Yeah.
Marky Mark, which is the brother of Donnie Wahlberg, Cypress Hill, MC Hammer, and then he goes by Hammer. Ice-T becomes the first big-time rapper actor in the movie New Jack City, which has one of the greatest soundtracks, I believe, from my era.
Hammer, Don't Hurt Him.
That's a good album. 92, Dr. Dre's The Chronic changed the music, and Pete Rock and CL Smooth's Mecca and the Soul Brother was a classic. Ice Cube, The Predator, dropped strong but a notch below his previous works. Commercial acts like Arrested Development and Criss Cross came on board. This was also the year that Canadian hip-hop reggae artist Snow made headlines with his hit Informer. We got the Jump Around with House of Pain and their debut album Shamrocks and Shenanigans. Death Row Records is actually founded by Dr. Dre and Suge Knight, The Doc, and Dick Griffey. The label became a sensation by releasing multi-platinum hip-hop albums by West Coast-based artists such as Dre himself, Snoop Dogg, Tupac Shakur, and that year, actually, Death Row peaked over 100 million US.
Good Lord.
Yep.
Good for them.
93 was the year that the Future Pros came on board into the scene, the likes of Snoop Dogg, who was produced by Dr. Dre. Del the Funko Sapien came onto the scene, courtesy, again, like his cousin, NWA alumni Ice Cube. East Coast hardcore entered the Wu-Tang. Onyx came in with their smash hit Slam, and Cypress Hill with Black Sunday, Naughty by Nature, which is 1993.
So Dr. Dre was a real mover.
Dr. Dre is...
Like underrated in terms of influence, right?
He's a legend.
Really? Eh?
Oh, I love Dr. Dre. And he's still going.
Really?
He's still going. Let's see here. 1994 was stacked with young talent from all over the map. That was the year that hip-hop was reborn. There were groundbreaking albums from New York, which is Nas' Illmatic, the Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Method Man's Tycho, California's Warren G's Regulate, G-Funk Era, Tupac's Group Thug Life Volume 1. In Chicago, we had some Common Sense Resurrection. In Atlanta, you have Outkast. As well as strong sophomore productions by veterans like the Beastie Boys with Ill Communication and Gang Starr, Hard to Earn. With the decline of grunge rock, 94 was also the year that hip-hop emerged as the genre of the future, making hip-hop artists platinum-selling superstars. 95 was not only the midpoint of the decade, but it was also the year in which the culture started down a path that would end in violence and confusion.
You've spoken with that, by the way, in previous podcasts, and your heart sinks, you know?
It does. While there had been some rumblings about discord between artists from two coasts, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were booed upon accepting an award. Puff Daddy announced that I live in the East and I'm going to die in the East.
Uh-oh.
And Suge Knight took not so veiled shot at Puff when appealing to young artists. It began a 2-year standoff that would lead to the deaths of two of the culture's biggest stars in Tupac and Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious B.I.G. 1996 started off as a great year for rap music. but it fell when in September with the death of Tupac. His album All Eyes on Me was released, and it was very well received to find some positive in the art of music. The year saw classic album debuts from Jay-Z, Busta Rhymes, Foxy Brown, Ghostface Killer, and Lil' Kim. Spectacular follow-ups by Mobb Deep, The Roots, Redman, and blockbuster releases by the Fugees, Nas, and then Tupac himself. While it faded towards the end, 96 still has some nearly impeccable resume. And here's a little bit of trivia.
Sure.
Did you know that Jay-Z was produced by none other than Kanye West?
Oh wow, it's taught about linkage.
So Kanye West was a big producer. Well, he was a producer in Chicago. He's from Chicago, but he produced Jay-Z. Go figure that one out.
He gave birth to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to give him some respect.
Oh, I have no trouble with him at all.
Me neither. But a lot of people like to dump
he's
on him.
eccentric. I know.
They like to dump on him. Yeah.
He's a difficult person.
So 1997, the murder of Notorious B.I.G. in March, merely 6 months after the killing of Tupac, cast a pall over the entire culture, but the music endured. Bad Boy dominated the year with a trifecta of classic, B.I.G.'s Life After Death, Puff Daddy's No Way Out, and Mace's Harlem World. Wu-Tang also returned in full of their own double album, Wu-Tang Forever, that broke sales records. 1998, two figures that had taken up so much space and attention were gone, and there was plenty of room for others to take some of the spotlight. Much like 1987, 1998 was a year in hip-hop which new and previously overlooked artists took the opportunity to shape and mold hip-hop in their own image. DMX took hip-hop by storm by releasing two #1 albums, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. What weird titles.
Yeah.
1999, let's enter Marshall Mathers, better known as Eminem, the protege of Dr. Dre.
There you go.
Like artists before Dre, he has produced Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Now he produced a young man from the 8 Mile District in Detroit. Debut album, the Slim Shady LP, made its mark. Dre released 2001. Choclair from Scarborough, Ontario came onto the scene with Ice Cold. Swollen members from the west coast of Canada came out with their album Balance and smash hit Lady Venom.
Yeah.
And the Rascals from Vancouver came out with their album Global Warming. Some of the old boys came back with albums like of Slick Rick, Beastie Boys. 3 of the Wu-Tang Boys came with albums, which was Method Man, Redman, and Russell Jones, better known as Old Dirty Bastard. Lauryn Hill cleans up at the Grammys in 1999, so it turned out to be a decent year.
All right.
2000 was the year of Y2K, or it seems to be a follow-up album for Eminem with the Marshall Mathers LP. Ghostface Killer produced a gem of an album called Supreme Clientele. Country Grammar by Nelly, and Outkast nailed it with Stankonia and their hit I'm Sorry, Miss Jackson. 2001, it was Cardinal Official releases Quest for Fire, Ja Rule with Pain is Love. D12 comes out with Devil's Night, which is also part of, Eminem is part of that group. And Jay-Z released Blueprint, an unplugged album. Nas's Stillmatic made the year different, but as per the critics, it was okay. 2002, things start to look and sound a little different in the world of rap and hip-hop. There is a new R&B flair to it. Eminem is still releasing albums. He came out with The Eminem Show. He starred in a movie which depicted his biopic, 8 Mile, and a soundtrack that came with it. You know, someone made money, I guess, that year.
I guess.
2003, Sparked emerged. Eminem produces 50 Cent and his album Get Rich or Die Trying. Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah. So 2004. 2004, those that had dominated in recent years like Jay-Z, Eminem, Dr. Dre, they took a step back, and new artists like Kanye West, Lil Wayne, T.I. Came about. Different regions were producing rap. You got Houston, Memphis.
But still New York, right, though?
Well, New York is always going to be there.
Yeah.
Jay-Z collaborated with Linkin Park to create Collision Course. Again, rap, rock, kind of mixes, right? And like Vanilla Ice stated, 2004 was the start of the lost generation. When he was in the game, he said the music mimicked the fashion. Your MTV Raps in USA and Much Music's Rap City were a thing. Now it's a distant memory, and you could stream on Vivo. How we missed the good old days of hip-hop. So what happens? 2005, mixtapes go from the car trunk to the internet. 2006, Beastie Boys released their first fan film concert movie called Awesome. I effing shot that. The godfather of soul, James Brown, passed away, and what many do not realize, he was a major influence on the hip-hop in the 70s.
Oh, mega sample.
Yeah, as his funk and soul music influenced the forefathers of hip-hop. 2007, Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 are inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. With their introduction, the pioneering hip-hop group became the first hip-hop act to be inducted. And that year, they were in good company as they were inducted alongside, get this, Ian, Patti Smythe,
Right.
the Ronettes, R.E.M., and Van Halen.
Bizarre.
And the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 were introduced by Jay-Z. Now here's a quote from Chuck D from his book titled Chuck D Presents This Day in Rap and Hip Hop History. A timely and long overdue situation where the foundations of a genre get appreciated, while the artists are not just with us, but in their own way are still very relevant to rap music's movement. They stayed true to the game, and this showed as they remain as iconic pioneers throughout the industry. This is so true in many ways. We have discussed how many deserving artists are left behind or snubbed. Then, when they are gone, these associations or foundations, they finally grow a guilty conscience. They decide to honor and induct them when it's too late. They always try to wrong the right, which leaves a sour taste. This is my
That's your feeling on it, eh?
That's my feeling.
Yeah, some truth to that.
2008, Lil Wayne mastered the art of rap as volume shooting by unleashing hard drive upon hard drive of music via mixtape. In addition to the first two Carter albums when he came up for air, it was to burn through remixes and feature at a similarly implausible rate. 2009, Run DMC is inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Inducted by Eminem, Run DMC became the second hip-hop group to be inducted. Also that year, the Crown Prince of Softy, Canada's own Drake, scored his first top 10 single, The Best I Ever Had, The Best I Ever Had.
Sure.
2010 was kind of interesting. You know B.O.B., Ian?
Yeah, sure do.
He releases B.O.B. Presents The Adventures of Bobby Ray on Atlantic Records.
On Atlantic, really?
Yeah. Canada's own Drake releases his debut album called Thank Me Later on Young Money. Chuck D releases his second solo album, Don't Rhyme for the Sake of Writing. And Eminem releases his 7th studio album, Recovery, on Shady Aftermath. 2011, Snoop Dogg releases his 11th album, Documentary. Beastie Boys release Hot Sauce Committee Part 2, and Pitbull releases Planet Pit. 2012, guess what, Ian?
What?
The Beastie Boys were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they were inducted by LL Cool J and Chuck D.
Wow, interesting.
Now, Chuck D quotes, inducting the Beastie Boys into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was an extremely honorable and bittersweet event. Adam MCA Yaw, who clearly was a hero of mine at that point, asked me first, and then Adam Horovitz and Mike Diamond. MCA was ill and later could not make the ceremony. LL Cool J presented them with me in Cleveland. Def Jam, the Beastie Boys were major. They were major for bringing me here. They put us on our first tour with License to Ill. They exposed our music via DJ Hurricane on national TV before we were anywhere. We watched these guys grow and transcend beyond the beginnings to make a music pattern to follow. Innovate, never repeat yourself twice, root yourself in the pioneering blue and black print of hip-hop, no matter how high you go. Be a tight group until death do you part. The Beastie Boys were and always saluting the elements whenever you hear, see, or read them. This is why it's so hard to duplicate them. So,
Well, that's something you obviously believe.
it is. And this is because you got to realize Beastie Boys, even though they came out in 79, we had said on our Classic Rock show, they merged.
I know.
They kind of morphed to
They were chameleons, yeah.
Yeah, they could do that. 2013, Kanye West releases his 6th album called Yeezus. which is probably his last and best album. Eminem, The Marshall Mathers LP2. 2014, Macklemore beats Kendrick Lamar for Best Rap Album at the Grammys. The Heist over Good Kid, Mad City. Lamar got robbed. Macklemore texted him and said, "You got robbed. I wanted you to win." Again, proves our point that these award shows make you think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, who thinks about them seriously anymore?
Yeah, so now we're coming towards the end.
Okay.
2015, Hamilton opens up on Broadway, and Dr. Dre releases his third studio album called Compton on Apple Music. 2016, NWA was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kendrick Lamar inducted them for the ceremony. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and DJ Yella accepted the award on stage alongside Kathy Wright, the mother of late Eazy-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not perform, but their memorable induction speech included Ice Cube's impassioned definition of rock and roll. Rock and roll is not conforming to the people who came before you, but creating your own path in music and in life. That's rock and roll, and that is us. 2017, Nipsey Hussle opens the Marathon clothing store. 2018, Kendrick Lamar actually receives the Pulitzer Prize for music.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, for his album called Damn.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And his quote is, "It's one of those things that should have happened with a hip-hop a long time ago. It took a long time for people to embrace us, people outside of our community, our culture, to see this not just as vocal lyrics, but to see this that is really pain. This is really hurt. This is true. Stories of our lives on wax." Now, to top it off,
Yeah.
2019, Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship, and Canada's own Drake was prominent everywhere during the
He sure was.
season and the playoffs. 2020, Ozzy Osbourne released his album Ordinary Man and collaborates with Post Malone and Travis Scott for his songs Take What You Want From Me and It's a Raid featuring Post Malone. Then from 2021 to 2023, what happened in rap hip hop? Yours truly bought hip hop albums on vinyl. That's what I did. This is the 50 years of hip hop. That's what I got.
Very good, man. That's like a compression of 50 years in, 50 minutes? Not even that. That's amazing. Well, I mean, folks, you've listened to Kennedy before in other shows. This is a particular genre that's close to his heart. I've seen his record collection, and there's a lot of stuff in there pertaining to this. So
I get choked up on a few of these things. So
yeah, I mean, it's a big deal.
Well,
and
it is, because it was like overshadowed, and and it just.
Well, I remember you saying it peaked at a certain year, and after that, it's like anything, right? Folk rock, anything. Things peak, and it peaked.
But it's also, we talked about the award shows.
Oh.
We talked about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I find you snub people, you forget about them, and it's like, oh, he died. Oh, okay, well, we got to put him in now.
I know that these are, you used to call them Requiem Awards, and you're just guilted into doing it, and it's not quite the same thing if the guy's dead. So I mean, when they resurrected Tupac at Coachella, I thought the technology was interesting, but it was also kind of a ghoulish thing too, as he rose out of the stage and he did a duet with Snoop. I just thought it was a little odd, but I'm okay with it. But I don't know. It often means to me things aren't progressing when you have to do stuff like that.
It's not organic.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's sad because I don't know what the criteria is to have certain people. I guess Chuck D's quote said it best. At least when Grandmaster, Flash, and the Furious 5 were inducted, they were all there.
Yeah, good point. Really good point.
When Run DMC, unfortunately, Grandmaster Jay, he had passed away in 2002.
Yeah, and it's a really good point. And there's that whole violent kind of culture associated with a lot of hip hop.
NWA, Eazy, he was sick. He got sick. He died.
Yeah.
I'm living in the past, but hey, at the end of the day, that to me was true rap. Those are the real
Good
MCs.
for you.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Thanks very much. And as I say, put it, digest it. It's a great meal. Food for thought. And with that, I'm going to say au revoir, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're listening to us.
And we'll catch you next time on Serious Rock Talk.
Bye-bye.